As I sit here, I'm reminded of this old little gray-haired lady. In our small Midwestern town, population hardly 80. I was a young boy then, age just past 10, when we all gathered and rose to our feet when her flag-draped casket came in. I remember the preacher's sentimental words and the reflective, somber tones, and the stories we all had about her life. Looking back, I still feel the chill as taps was played. At the graveside, the startling rapport of the gunshots, final salute. Then the most emotional of all, the folding of the flag. But what happened next was the most emotional of all when they gave that flag to my dad. You see, my grandmother, the little old gray-haired lady, was a soldier. My father's mother was a soldier. My great-grandfather's daughter a soldier. She was someone to everyone, but to me, a hero. Always brave and strong, heroic, battle-hardened, and full of love. That tiny gray-haired lady who fought for me.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our show on our new Facebook page.
We got kind of attacked on our old one, so we had to create a new Facebook page. So if you were watching our old one, come look at our new one. The link is in the comments right now.
We may be attacked, but we will never surrender.
Yes, we will not surrender. We're Americans. Americans don't surrender or aren't supposed
Amen.
to. So how are you doing tonight, Sally?
Oh, I'm doing fine. How are you doing, Mr. Chad?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. It's at least the weather's not cold and it's not raining, so I will have to say that. And just as a truck it thing for you, Sally, I saw this overlay and just wanted to put this on that from King of the Hill. So if you've never seen King of the Hill, did you see it?
I saw most of it.
Okay, well, if you've never seen King of the Hill, Peggy always says, in my opinion, with facts. So I thought
Yep.
that was funny. I'm sorry.
Oh, we know the joke. We know the joke. Just saying.
Sure you do. So tonight, I think our show is going to be mostly about migrants and homelessness.
Yep.
And what we're going to do about it, or what's going to be done about it, or how.
Well,
I
we
mean,
got people migrating in. We got people migrating out. We got new border laws going into effect. We're just going to talk a little bit about all of it because it's affecting each and every one of our communities, whether you know it or not.
that is true. So that is very true. So I don't know really. I know that's a. Hey, Suzanne, how are you
Evening,
doing
Susan.
tonight? I think I know who that Suzanne is, even though she's on Facebook and doesn't like to get on Facebook. But
Yeah,
thank you for
and
joining us on Facebook. Hey,
welcome,
Ruth.
Dave. Ruth.
We have Ruth here. We have Suzanne. We have
Awesome.
Dave.
I am so glad to see everybody here tonight. I'm glad you got the links. We
Me
were really
too.
worried whether or not anybody was actually going to get the link.
Yeah, I was kind of worried about that too. So I understand. I understand that
We
fully.
gotta love these Indonesian hackers that like to go in and steal profiles off of Facebook. So be careful. If you
Careful
don't
what you
click
click
any
on.
link, don't click a link.
Oh, I'm sorry, Suzanne. That's Susie. Yes, I didn't know if you wanted me to reveal what you go by with other things, so I'll say that for you. So yes, that is Susie. She's actually come on our show late nights before or at night before.
She was on here
So
2 weeks ago,
yeah, 2 weeks ago she was on here. So um,
and we loved having her with us.
yes, she is a great person to have on the show. I'll put it that way. I've done many after night shows with her just to hang out and talk. So
Woman after my own heart, I'm promising you.
yes, yes. I don't talk to that many people after hours with voice chat and stuff like that, but I have talked to Susie quite a bit and Chris. So
Now, haven't got to speak with Chris a lot, or at all.
Chris is very fun to talk to. I'll say that.
Cool. I'd love to have a conversation with him at some point.
You got to get on Discord. So if you're not on Discord,
Oh,
make
we're
sure you
there.
go.
It's just I don't ever go there.
And I'll even put our Discord invite link up right now, just so everybody try to come and visit us on Discord.
Yes, Miss Susie, you do need to get your channel going. We would love to see a show with you in it.
So there is our Discord link, and I like to hang out there. I didn't used to hang out on Discord much, but I do now. Seems like. So
Yeah, well, the way Facebook is going with Meta here recently, you know, we're probably going to be looking at getting other platforms to go to because Meta has informed me of their $25 extortion fee that's probably not going to protect anything we do over there.
probably not. So probably not. She said she had a very nice interview with Devon on Rumble, and just so you know, Devon is a man that is also a truck driver. I'm pretty sure. So
Sweet.
we're on Rumble too, on Truck It on Rumble, or we're at the common denominator on Rumble. Um, so if you go there and just,
I think we've got a truck it over there. I just got to find it again.
I don't think we have a Truck It. Well, we might have a Truck It on there, but
Yeah, I
anyway.
think we do. I think I put one there.
So what do you want to start out today with, Sally?
Oh my goodness. Let's talk about some of these new Texas laws.
All right.
One year ago, Texas declared a state of emergency from the immigrant migration invasion. And just recently, week, 10 days ago, they instituted a new policy, and we have a video on that. So we're going to do a video review on it, see what you think.
All right, and I will get that video up I might have to turn my camera off because I'm getting one of them slow internet nights, just so
Yeah,
everybody
I
knows.
think Chad's got some inclement weather coming through. It's jacking with his internet. So
I don't know. I wouldn't think it would be even the inclement weather because I've always got that. At least everybody can hear me tonight without the rain coming. So
yeah,
here we go. And I don't know if we have to watch all of this because I think it might be more than that. But this is a immigration lawyer that obviously has an immigration page, and she's pretty much telling people how to come through the legal way in a way. So we'll see what she has to say.
Hello, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharp. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Put your questions in the comments now. I have a good topic that I'm going to talk to you about today. It's something that's very important for you to know. And hi there. And it's about that new Texas immigration law. So they have 3 bills that are working its way to the governor's desk in Texas to become law. Now, I'm just going to give you an update about this. If you're living in Texas, if you're thinking about moving to Texas, you're going to want to know about this law because it is going to be very dangerous for immigrants, especially those who are undocumented. Lately, we've been seeing states, so the first was Florida, now we're seeing Texas coming out with these laws that are targeting undocumented immigrants and criminalizing being an immigrant here without papers. Now, the Texas immigration law takes it a notch further. I'm going to talk about how they're taking it a notch further than Florida's law. In the meantime, put your questions in the comments, though. I only have a limited amount of time, and I want to get to your questions in at least the last 5 minutes of being on here. So start typing those questions in. So as soon as I am ready to answer questions, I can scroll through and answer. Now, the Texas immigration law, they have 3 bills that are moving through, and it looks like they are going to become law. Now, usually the federal government is the only, and there is case law, by the way. The Supreme Court already found years ago that the state cannot implement laws that will interfere with the federal government's role in enforcing immigration laws. In other words, the state cannot deport immigrants. Only the federal government can enforce immigration law in that way. However, Texas has now passed a law or is on the way. I believe it is going to become law
it
that
is
the
law.
state police, not federal government, but the state police can check your immigration documents and deport you if you can't show that you entered the country legally. They can then make a move to drive you to the border and order you to cross the border.
And come back through the gate.
Don't comply with that order, they will then charge the person with a felony. So,
Okay, so just from that, what is your vision from that?
It means
You think that's wrong?
they are targeting the getaways that they catch. They're not just taking them to a processing center. They're taking them and back to the border and saying, okay, now you got to come through the gate. You're not coming through tunnels or over a wall or through a wall. You're going to come through the gate.
Okay, and
You're
that's
going to do it right.
She mentioned Florida in that too, and that is what Florida started to do is to where they wouldn't allow illegals to come in the country and work. And this
But I will say Ron DeSantis has started putting the ones that have gone through the court system to work as police officers to help with the migrants that they're catching, so because they will speak the same language.
right. And that's kind of funny, but yeah, that's true.
And what this lady is not saying is that Texas, I'll get my camera straight in a minute.
It's okay.
It's
I'll
falling
probably
out of
get
its
those
holder.
soon.
What Texas did a year ago is they filed an emergency status because of the invasion that they were having from all the people coming across the border. Okay,
And
that's something Arizona did not do. They did not file an emergency status. They just went in and filed a law that they're going to start arresting people coming across the border. They have since, that rule has been overturned by the federal courts.
right.
But Texas is going about it the right way. They filed an emergency status 1 year ago today, as a matter of fact.
And this is supposed to kick in December 1st.
December the 1st, these laws are going into effect where they're going to catch these people and incarcerate them, escort them back to the border, and let them come through the gate legally.
And pretty much force them to cross back over the border is what they're
Yeah.
doing.
They're basically a deportation.
Right, exactly.
Where
So,
they can make them come back in legally and not sneak across with the coyotes.
and one thing that did happen in Texas that I saw is the Border Patrol tried to force Texas to stop putting up the blockages in the river to keep them from crossing. Now, from what I heard,
The river buoys. The river buoys and the
buoys.
razor wire.
Right. Now, from what I understood, it really didn't stop that many people, but it was a deterrent. Of course, it's kind of hard, just like with fence, and even harder in a river, to lay down barbed wire and buoys across the whole southern border of Texas, because anybody that's been across Texas knows Texas is big. So I understand the difficulty in that, but I totally agree with shipping people back.
Well, and the thing is, if they come back illegally again, they sneak in across the border as try to get away, and they're caught, then they are going to be processed with a felony, and they're going to jail.
And if they don't go to jail, they'll still be processed as a felony, shipped back to Mexico, and then it would be on
their country,
the do not return list. So if you try to come up through the legal way, you actually would get rejected because you've already been processed as a felony. So you would actually have to sneak back in. So,
yeah.
And I listened to a little bit more of what she has to say. So I just thought we had a lot of stuff to say there. So,
there's a lot she's not saying.
So they will have a criminal offense, a felony on their record, and face time in prison if they're found guilty in court. Now, there are a number of concerns here regarding the legality of this. First of all, the Supreme Court, which is the highest court in the land, has stated that the state can't do this. There are only certain, for example, you go to court, the court orders you deported, and then ICE can then work to remove you from the country. But you cannot have a state now saying, okay, we're going to check your documents, we're going to evaluate whether we think you legally entered the country, and then we're going to drive you to the border and deport you. There is something wrong here, and it is based on law.
And so you're leaving something out too,
Arizona
honey.
Tried to implement a type of law like this in the past, and they lost. So clearly, once they start to enforce this law, the Biden administration, which is the federal government, I'm pretty sure they're going to challenge the law and bring it back to the court. And in that case, we'll either see the court, as we have seen with abortion, the court can always change their position if they can find a legal justification to do so. So we're a little bit
such
on
as
edge
an invasion
as well because of the type of court that we have in place now. But it is supposed to be settled law that the state can't do this. But this is what they're trying to do. They are trying to say that check your papers and then give the police authority to deport you. So that's one law. Then there's the anti-smuggling law, and the anti-smuggling law also they have increased the penalty from 2 years to 10 years. So 2 years to 10 years. Okay, so let's see.
So people really find that offensive? That if you're caught
I don't find
smuggling,
it offended.
I'm
That's
having
called
some
human
technical
trafficking.
difficulties here.
Yeah, she's having
Let's
technical
see.
difficulties now. I don't know how much we need to listen to her anymore. But
Well, we'll just post a link to her video if you want to go check out the entire video.
here is the link to this video from her.
But, you know, there's all kinds of stuff going on. Texas is having to enforce these laws because the federal government is not enforcing our immigration policies that are in. They're there. They've always been there. They're just, Biden is not making them enforce them.
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
So
And,
Texas is having to step up to defend its own people because even Walmart is having issues with it. They've put in their own police forces because people are coming in and stealing them blind.
oh yeah, there's I was watching a video the other day, and it said that I think 24 or 26 Rite Aids are shutting down in New York City because of the overwhelming amount of shoplifting that they've had. And it's not,
Yep.
I don't believe it's just from migrants. I believe it's just from lack of law enforcement. And then now,
Well, when you live in a town that you have migrants, but you have natural born citizens, you can't tell the difference between them.
I mean,
Not from a video camera.
And they're not punishing them either. So, I mean,
it's a catch and release program.
The whole thing is catch and release right now. And even I heard that a bunch of pro-Palestine protesters were in California and shut down the Bay Bridge, which is a major bridge in San Francisco. If I've never been to San Francisco, but
100 people that was arrested for that.
It was 50 to 100 people. I can't remember the exact number, but they blocked the bridge with their cars. They threw the keys. They threw their keys over the bridge, and then they also chained themselves together and blocked the bridge. Now, that was also catch and release. They just arrested them,
smacked them on the wrist. Bad person.
Yes.
Bad protester.
There was also a major protest at the DNC building in Washington, D.C. And
one at Congress.
And yeah, the
one at the White House.
I forgot about the one in Congress, but yes, you're right about that. And then here is how New York City is trying to handle the migrant problem now, which is kind of crazy also to me.
Well, we're living in a la-la world anymore. Anything goes.
Autos very own W Music 5.
New York City is offering migrants a free one-way ticket to anywhere in the world. City's established a new re-ticketing center in Manhattan where asylum seekers can pick up the ticket. The effort is New York's latest bid to ease pressure on its shelters and finances. More than 130,000 asylum seekers have arrived since last year. City's mayor warned shelters are so full, migrants will soon be forced onto the streets as winter approaches.
So there's that one.
I wonder where they're going.
13 families decided to.
Yes, exactly. They can go anywhere in the world, including anywhere in the USA. Now, here's another short one about one reason why they're now covering this is because evidently they're not getting treated well enough in the U.S. now.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're not giving you houses and cars and money.
Newly opened shelter at Lloyd Benfield in Brooklyn. They arrived by bus as soon as they got there. Some people we spoke with say they were told they weren't even going there. Many it's too isolated, too far from their children's schools in Manhattan or the Bronx. Mayor Adams visited the place last night saying this is the best the city can do right now.
This is not, the best conditions, but we're managing the crisis. And we cannot say any better that we need help.
The city is offering families a shuttle bus taking them to Stillwell Avenue subway station to commute to school or work.
Now to
Sorry, folks,
Let
you
me get the
caught me.
right buttons clicked here. So
Caught me.
now these migrants are saying conditions are not good enough living in a tent city in New York City. How bad does that mean it was in the countries they're coming from? If a tent city where you get 3 meals a day, showers, your kids are going to school, you're getting free trips to the subway station,
You're
and
not
all this
getting
other
shot
stuff.
at.
Yeah, that's
You're
telling
not
me
having
that you really
deal with
don't need
drug
asylum too
cartels.
much. And now a lot of these people actually are flying back to Venezuela. There's multiple stories on it. It'd take up the whole show if we tried to play all of them. So I'm not going to try to play all of them. So,
Well, they just found out the grass wasn't greener on the other side of that fence.
well, that's what they were told is how much stuff they were going to get and they got it at first. You know,
It's not all flashy homes and flashy cars and big fat wallets full of money that's free from the government with free health care. You have to go on to Canada if you want that. Oh, wait a minute. We have a crisis with migrants coming across the Canadian border too, but nobody's covering that. Think about it, folks. They're coming in one way, they're coming in another. Everybody think it's just Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California they're coming through. They're coming in on boats from Cuba again. And they're not Cubans. Boatloads of them.
yeah, I think that's been a normal thing, to be honest. By the way,
It's
Vince,
worse
if you're
now.
watching, Vince said I say to be honest with you too much, and I didn't really recognize it until I started paying attention to myself doing it. So, sorry if that's the case, but
You're right. You're right, Dion. We did the same thing when the Colombians migrated in.
Well, when the
And the
Cubans
Cubans.
migrated
The
in,
Cubans came in the 70s on their broken roped together pontoon boats and whatever. We were scooping them out with the National the oh God,
Coast
what is
Guard.
it? Coast Guard.
Yeah, there
Thank
you
you.
go. I knew what you meant.
So I mean, we've always had an immigration issue, but it has never been as prevalent as it is today.
I believe that. I agree with that 100%, and I agree with Susie on this too. The open borders were designed to open up the gates for sleeper cells to get in here. The rest
And
were
we
just
do have
also
training
cannon
camps
fodder.
here.
And I agree with that 100% because that's what I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of getting bombed by Iran or, Palestine or even China. I'm more worried about the sleeper cells because if they want to hurt us, they can hurt us just like they said from the beginning. They can hurt us from the inside.
Well,
So-
yeah, I mean, you have to look at all the street protests. Those are
Right.
not American citizens. Not all of them.
A lot of them, I believe, are American citizens.
They are using our constitutional rights against us of free speech to promote a terrorist organization.
Well, you got to also think about a lot of these people, how they think. They think that they're somebody that's oppressed, there's got to be an oppressor. So either Israel at this current time or the U.S. is the oppressor to everybody. Well, Israel is the oppressor to Palestine, but the way they see it is U.S. is the oppressor to everybody.
Well, you have to
So-
look at it this way, too. Israel was the one who was unprovoked attack. And, what else are they supposed to do? We have Iran promoting Hamas, helping fund them.
Exactly. Bad intro. Thanks for joining in.
Hey, bad
you need to tell
intro.
me how to get into streamer mode if that's the case. So if we're not in streamer mode, you need to tell me how to do it. And now Susie's back as her regular name was Susie. So
So, we have got so many issues
yeah,
at this point with our immigration and border crisis. And a lot of it has been covered up.
a lot of it has been covered up. A lot of it has been covered up. And I mean, I've watched a lot of stuff about homelessness too. And I mean, I've heard heard that, we're kicking out veterans and even regular American homeless people should not get kicked out for immigrants. I'm sorry. That is not how
They shouldn't.
It should be America first, and I can understand with some of it.
And I've heard, I'm not sure if it's a proven fact, that in New York, they are taking nursing homes and they're giving everybody a week, 14 days. Hey, no. To find a place to go because they need it for the new migrants.
That's horrible to me.
And I'm not sure if that's true or not. I'm going to have to do some digging on that, but that is deeply disturbing if that is true.
Well, I know you sent me a thing about why Californians are fleeing to Mexico.
Well, that's we got people leaving because of all this mess. I mean, look at Gavin Newsom's leadership.
No, and I don't see, that's something I really
The
hope
homeless
doesn't happen.
crisis there is just astronomical.
Well, it's kind of a long video, so I'll jump through it a little bit. And this is why homelessness is worse in California than in Texas.
Yep. Let's see that footage.
Okay, it jumped around some. So hold on just a second. Let me rewind it for just a second. How long is their intro? Too long. So this is in Austin.
Okay.
Boom in Bustown, a magnet for business and tech innovation, which has lured some of Silicon Valley's top performers. When the ultra-rich moved in, housing prices started to resemble San Francisco's, and the homeless population has climbed. Policy-wise, Austin has a lot in common with West Coast cities, which helps explain the huge encampments here. But Austin has an advantage that San Francisco and Los Angeles don't. When you walk over the city line, you're in a more typical Texas municipality, where light touch regulation allows innovative approaches to thrive. The outskirts of Austin are home to Community First Village, a 51-acre community of tiny homes. The project doesn't rely on federal money, and therefore isn't bound by rules imposed by Washington. Alan Graham, who founded Community First Village, attributes homelessness to the lack of a supportive network of friends, family, and neighbors, and seeks to rebuild that network by giving formerly homeless people the opportunity to live in a community again.
The single greatest cost to homelessness is a profound, catastrophic loss of family.
The homes are intentionally designed with large front porches within a walkable community to encourage socialization among neighbors. To live here, residents have to respect the law and follow rules like keeping pets leashed, junk off their driveways, and drug use out of the common areas. But behind closed doors, that's their business.
What we always wanted is for people to live the way that people want to live here in the United States of America. We have an extraordinary number of freedoms. We don't want people coming into our homes, seeing what we do in the privacy of our own homes. What you do there is your biz. And so we tried to create that same environment. But there are three fundamental rules to live here. Rule number one, above all rules, period, end of story, you must pay rent.
The monthly cost for one of these houses is between $240 and $440, depending on the size and amenities, which residents typically pay out of their monthly Social Security or disability benefits.
Prior to COVID, we had a 99% rent collection deal.
On time?
Close enough.
Yeah.
And it turns out that people that have skin in the game are bought into the game far more than people that don't have skin in the game.
The residents we spoke with agreed.
One thing that I've learned since I've been out here is unconditional love, which I've never had except from my grandmother, who was dead for over 50 years.
Oh, it's still conditional.
Oh, sometimes with certain people, but not with you, Mama.
Okay, well, I wanted to show that much of this. Now, here is San Antonio.
Okay.
We're not. And we agreed with it. But that wasn't our goal. Our goal was to transform, to make them different people, have a different life, and be able to participate in our society.
Phil Hardberger served as San Antonio's mayor from 2005 to 2009, a period in which the city's homeless population grew by about 1,000. But he reversed this trend by partnering with the Valero founding CEO Bill Greehey to build a nonprofit homeless service provider called Haven for Hope on a 22-acre land lot owned by the city. To build the campus, Greehey raised more than $100 million, mostly from the private sector, and contributed lots of his own fortune as well. Today, Haven for Hope offers room and board, healthcare, childcare, and even a kennel, as well as a comprehensive life skills program, including job training, mental health counseling, and addiction treatment. To live here, residents have to agree to learn practical life skills, making it to class, attending counseling, staying clean, and continuing along the path to independence. Stephanie Abel is a mother of 6. She and her husband, who works as a dishwasher, reside in the family dorms with their kids at Haven for Hope.
I'm actually currently getting my GED, which is one of the many things that they help with here. Thank you, Jesus. And I take parenting classes here. The parenting classes that I'm taking provide like diapers, wipes, and clothes, stuff like that, which they also provide here in the family dorm. You know, going over like different jobs and stuff that you can have, what kind of salary is better based on how big your family is and stuff.
Okay, cool.
A lot of it I didn't know. Like,
Yeah.
I just learned the other day that a mortician makes like $50,000 and something. I was like, yeah.
Exactly.
For people unable or unwilling to follow the program, who just need immediate assistance to get off the streets for a night or two, there's a separate area called the Courtyard, which offers security, heat, food, laundry, and a shared indoor space with beds. The same counseling and treatment services are offered on this side, but they aren't mandatory.
So that's San Antonio there. Now, Houston is the only one that goes by government standards.
Reported last year, Houston has reduced its homeless count by more than 60% over the past decade, while placing more than 25,000 people in permanent units. So how did America's 4th largest city succeed by going all in on housing first, while Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Portland have failed so miserably?
It really is about permanent housing with supportive services as the only solution to end homelessness.
Anna Rausch is the Vice President of Program Operations at the Coalition for the Homeless of Houston-Harris County, the Metro's sole coordinating agency. While many cities have several organizations in this role, Houston relies on a single nonprofit, and it's the first stop for any homeless person entering the system. Rausch says that this makes it easier to efficiently route clients where they need to go and to track outcomes. She says that the housing readiness approach in San Antonio, which has a metro region population about 1/3 the size of Houston's, wouldn't scale.
Who determines if somebody's housing ready? To me, it's like that's a basic need, right? Every human needs housing and food and clothing. How can any organization determine if someone is housing ready? I don't think that's for us to decide. I would just ask you to look at the cost of that. So you're paying to
Okay. Now, I like a lot of what they have to say. An instant kill for me for watching that is them taking pictures with Beto or Beto, whatever his name is.
Yep.
Can't stand him. But yes, they're using government funding. And just from what I've heard from people from Houston, homelessness is not that great there, or isn't that great there. And like the other two said, you've got to be ready to want to live away from the street. So like these other two places required you to have a job, pay rent. If anything, you're helping out the community. You know, I don't agree with just housing you just because you're homeless and you're still wanting to do fentanyl all the time and not want to do anything. But like, for example, what Bad Intro said about, Uncle Ronnie next door smoking up meth if I have kids in my house is kind of my business.
It is.
So,
you don't need
yes,
your kids around that mess.
I agree with that, because if you're I've known plenty of meth smokers, and meth isn't just something you keep in your house. Meth is something doing outside and everything, but you can tell meth users 90% of the time.
Oh yeah, there is no doubt you can tell.
Stereotypical, or be stereotyping them, but most of them, yes, you can stereotype them. You know,
You can tell. I mean, you know, they're faces potted up, poxed up, and where they're clawing and scratching at their face, and their teeth are rotted out, and
bad intro.
It's bad.
You mentioned that these places are everywhere, and just to show you that you are somewhat right about that, this is a community that they are opening up right up the street from me, and it is only got one house in it so far, but it is for veterans only. I'm sure you can appreciate that. Veterans that have had a hard past. But I'm going to show you this.
And you know what? Everybody is so much against the tiny house movement. I am absolutely all for it.
These are people that you got to think. These are people that only need a tiny house. If you're living on the street, evidently your family is refusing to take you in.
If you're just one person, a tiny house is perfect. I live in an 8x10 box, 350 days a year.
Yes. So, I mean,
it doesn't take much for comfort.
You can see the little first tiny house they have built, and this is the opening of it. It's not near as big as Texas having the land to do it, but this is a pretty small area of land that they're starting this in. It's not in a rural area, but it's not in a metro area either. So it's even off. I used to live off this road even. So this is the video from them. It's a short one. It's only 2 minutes long. So, and it's also muted right now. So let me unmute it before we get started. That might help.
Serving those who've served our country. Clay County community is serving those who've served our country. The Operation Barnabas nonprofit is building tiny homes for veterans in Middleburg. Action News Jack's Finn Carlin heard from some of them today who say it's a space to start again.
This kind of ceremony for one tiny home may seem out of place.
This is a community that loves each other, that loves people.
But ask the veterans like these who never thought they'd have one. They tell you it means much more.
Living a reckless life, drugs, felony lifestyle, just crime.
When Jordan Brimblow and James Burst came home from their service, they were met with more pain than praise.
Lost my family, my wife took off, my 5-year-old daughter was with her.
I was not okay, you know what I mean? At this time, fighting with my wife, I'm ready to drop everything and run away.
Going from serving our country to serving time in jail with nowhere to go until Operation Barnabas helped find the home.
Doesn't matter what hole you dig yourself into, how dark it gets in the room, there is a light, there is a way out.
Now those homes are moving to Middleburg. $1.5 million work of tiny homes, free for veterans.
What's the power of a home to a veteran in need?
If you would have asked us, we never thought we'd be in a home. Neither one of us.
It means everything to be able to have a spot to lay your head and know that you're safe.
And a county becoming more costly, some say these neighborhoods are in need.
Well, the rents are high. The housing prices are high, and it's a problem.
Jennifer Gregory is a local realtor. She says average home prices in Clay County have risen nearly $200,000 in the last 6 years. She's hoping to see more places like these for veterans making ends meet.
It's a huge need, and I think it would benefit lots of different communities of people.
While Brimlow and Burse hope to help people struggling after service find a guiding light.
Just take my hand. I'll reach out my hand.
I got you.
Lending a hand to our heroes at home. For local coverage you can count on in Middleburg. Finn Carlin, Action News Jax.
And see, it's not just a thing for the homeless vets. It could be something for an elderly person. They could live in these things, in these tiny homes, and be very effective and live on a budget. A lot of them are living just off of their Social Security checks.
And that's not, especially here, like she was talking about with how much money it cost here in Middleburg to own a home. That little mobile home they showed on there, that wasn't one of the Fort Barnabas homes. That was probably a home she's trying to sell right now. And that home would probably go for $175,000 where I live. Right next door to me, it would be $175,000 more than likely.
Yeah. Because
So
the mobile home itself is going to cost about $75,000. They're going to charge you
at least.
$100,000 for the lot that it's sitting on.
Oh, that's going to be if that trailer is already there. That's not a brand new mobile home. That's a 10-year-old mobile home that they're going to charge you $175,000 for, especially now. Yep. I mean, I bought
but
my house.
Our homeless thing is absolutely becoming an epidemic too. It's
right.
I mean, the realtors have priced us out of rentals.
Yes,
and there
very
are
much
more
so.
homes staying in vacant, and they'd rather them stand vacant than lose a dime.
COVID hurt a lot of that too because you couldn't evict people. So without being able to evict people, if you were going to sign up for a new mortgage or a new, not mortgage, but a new lease or renting a house, if you weren't going to pay for it, I mean, you could just say, no, I'm paying for it. Now, granted, 2 years later, you're going to end up owing that money, but then you just move out.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know people that did that. And then people are like, oh, well, I bought this house for $40,000 at a rental. Now I can sell it for $250,000. Bye-bye renters. Unless you're willing to pay me what I can get for this house. Bye-bye rentals, you know.
Yep.
I mean,
and that's sad to say that, you know, it's all about the God Almighty dollar. And it's not God's dollar, it's man's dollar.
And as you heard them talking about on that one, I know we didn't hear it on the other ones because those are probably older communities in Austin and San Antonio that are doing that. But you heard how much they were saying they were getting paid for those houses. Well, a local building company that builds small houses is actually donating most of that money they're raising that for. They're donating tons of those little houses for veterans that have fallen on hard times and need help recovering. Because like he said, a lot of them are felons. A lot of them have had really bad times. I'm sure a lot of them have been into drugs. You know, you come back, can't personally say how I would feel, but you come back from war with PTSD, I could see to where you would get violence charges. You know, I can understand that. You know, I'm sure a lot of people, most people can. That's why it's on the news everywhere here, because people love veterans in this area. So,
well, you know, people love veterans everywhere. Okay. But it's not just a veteran thing.
No, it's not just a veteran thing. I just wanted
the older generation need to have reliable, stable, small communities like that where they can live within their means on their budgets, not have to worry about whether or not they're going to be able to afford their medicine or have to buy a can of cat food to eat.
Yeah, that's pretty sad. But yes, I do agree with that.
And it's happening every day. But the main problem is we have all these HOAs and these building ordinances in our states that say that you can't live in anything smaller than 500 square feet of house.
Right. Well, we have
not a home, house.
We have public, or we have laws that will prevent that in a lot of places. Ordinance, not even HOAs, but ordinances.
Yeah.
That will prevent that in a lot of places.
It's called zoning laws.
Yeah, zoning laws, exactly. And part of that is also to ban, like here, you can only leave a travel trailer hooked up in one spot for like 30 days.
And in some states, you can't leave it hooked up in one spot for more than 14 days.
Right. So, and that's where
we have so many people living. Well, we have so many people living in travel trailers. I know of like 8 of them right around where I'm working that people live in that work in this facility.
Well,
because they can't afford a house to rent.
Just from Florida, look at when hurricanes hit here. You know, you're not likely to get
hook your house up and get the fuck out.
I mean, people go back to where their house was, and people go back to where their house was and have to hook up a RV up there or a travel trailer up there until they can get their house is repaired. Let me tell you, flooding and hurricanes, mostly flooding from hurricanes, is not a cheap go in and fix it in 2-week repair.
Well, look at what happened with Katrina. Hundreds of thousands of people had to move into travel trailers.
I mean, exactly.
The market was flooded with them once they started moving out. You could pick up a travel trailer, a Katrina travel trailer for $2,000. if that much. That was a high end one.
That's you can't
There are
find them now
so
for
many.
$10,000 here.
Well, you can find them here and there. But I'm going to tell you, folks, we are facing an economic crisis, a homeless crisis, a housing crisis, an unemployment crisis that they don't want to admit is a crisis because so many people have outdrawn their unemployment and have fallen out of the statistic and still don't have a job, which is creating the homeless crisis. We got migrants coming in
And
that are
Eon's
running
right.
our veterans out of places where they could have rented because the owner of the facility wants the government money.
You're right. Also, what? Excuse me.
So I mean,
why is there so many abandoned buildings around?
Yeah.
Why can't you do something with those abandoned buildings? And I mean, I even seen in California where there was a meth house selling for $1.5 million that probably has to be torn down, and you just buying the lot for $1.5 million, and that's just crazy to me. But
well, the
I know we're
sad
coming
thing
up
is
on
wherever meth has been manufactured in a house, the whole house has to be torn down because the residue will affect the next residents whether they do meth or not.
Right. That's how it is in a lot of places here in Florida. So I know we're coming up on our hour.
Yep.
And this was one of the good notes of today, or not today, but actually on November 11th. So 11/11, this guy said that that was a time for restarting or rejuvenation.
Yep.
So this is a police officer that has become famous in Houston that has had a very lengthy criminal history. So I just wanted to give him praise, even though he is getting praise, luckily.
Well, let's show that beautiful beam footage, sir.
Okay, this is the one that I was going to pull up instead of just the raw footage of it. But
an HPD officer shot in the leg during a gun battle on the Southwest Freeway is recovering this morning. The suspect, accused of carjacking, is dead after opening fire after crashing into several vehicles on the Southwest Freeway. During the shooting, a man risked his own life, as you see there, to help pull that officer to safety, and only on 13. We're hearing from that man.
Just incredible seeing that video. And so we're seeing all of it happening up close, a view of what it was like. And so take a look here at the body camera that was being worn by that Good Samaritan as bullets were literally flying past him. John Lally told us that he feels he was put in the right place at the right time in order to save that officer.
I just kind of ran over there and I grabbed that guy with the other police officer, and me and him together, we grabbed him by his vest and we dragged him behind the truck, and I kind of tucked him underneath the truck so he wouldn't get shot again.
Wow, incredible. Lally stayed with the wounded officer, trying his best to provide some sort of comfort as they waited for paramedics to arrive.
It's just your leg. It's just your leg. You hear me? Just squeeze my hand as tight as you have to. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry. I'm here with you.
Wow.
You hear me?
Officials reported that the officer suffered one gunshot wound to the leg and is currently receiving treatment. Lally told us one of the officer's family members reached out to thank him.
Well, folks, if you see the other video I found, the guy actually tells the police officers, he says, when I went into prison, I was given a 25-year sentence. When I come out, I knew I had to change my life. So, you know, he did a good thing. And even though he'd been incarcerated, doesn't mean that they're bad. It's your life choices.
And I can probably find that one too. I just hope we don't get blocked for playing it, since you can
No,
hear
let's not.
gunshots in it, and I know how.
Let's not play that one
All
because
right.
we got a new group page. Let's not knock it, even though
Yeah,
it
we don't
is
want to
all
get.
over YouTube. So,
Yeah,
folks,
I'm amazed.
if you will, at the end of this show, share us a little love, give us a like, follow us on Facebook, hit the subscribe button over on YouTube, hit the little bell for a notification. We're trying to get up and going again after we've got hit hard by our little hacker and got hijacked. Chad and
Yeah,
I are working hard to bring good content for y'all every week.
and I do have a closing video for us.
Let's
I don't know
go.
I wouldn't call it a Sparkle Fuck Award.
Uh-oh. Here we go with the Sparkle Fuck Award.
Maybe everybody that believed this, maybe the Sparkle Fuck. But all right. This one is about Snoop Dogg.
Uh-oh. What's he up to?
So this is from USA Today. So let's get it going. If I can. Stupid internet.
Gotta love technology. The day of
yeah.
modern AI, and we're supposed to rely on it to run smoothly. No,
yeah.
Dogg's giving up smoke, but it's not what you think. All right, Snoop Dogg made headlines when he announced on social media he, quote, decided to give up smoke. Odd way to announce that you're going to stop smoking weed like everybody assumed, right? Even Meek Mill chimed in. Yeah, Meek said after speaking with his doctor, he was going to stop smoking too. He also cited the, quote, many chemicals found in newer strains of marijuana. Anyways, turns out that the smoke Snoop was planning to give up had nothing to do with Mary Jane.
Snoop, smoke is kind of your whole thing, but I'm done with it. Done with the coughing and my clothes smelling all sticky icky. I'm going smokeless. Solo stove fix fire. They take out the smoke.
Yeah, Solo stoves are advertised as smokeless fire pits, and Snoop now has a line with them. The initial bundle includes a pit designed by Snoop and other accessories. Separately, Snoop also announced that he's going to reissue his iconic album Doggy Style, and given the news of this new brand deal, there was one lyric in particular that felt relevant to revisits.
Laid back.
With my mind on my money and my money on my mind.
Alrighty then.
Yes, you should.
So,
alrighty then. I was fixing to say, damn, he learned how to smoke and quit burning these waffles.
That was hilarious because on Van Hall's show last night, he was talking about that. If you don't watch LFR Family, he's a great podcaster. But he was talking about that, wondering if that's what the no smoke was. So I guess it came out now that he's advertising his little grill or fire pit, and that's his no smoke because it doesn't put off smoke. So.
No, it's going to put off other damn chemicals because wherever there's a chemical, there's a fire. What a goofy dork. That one definitely deserves a Sparkle Fuck Award.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd even call it a Sparkle
I
Fuck
would.
Award.
He's promoting the propaganda. Wherever there's smoke, there's fire. Wherever there's fire, there's going to be a smoke.
I agree. Thank you, Susie. Great show.
Thank you, Miss Ruth.
I think Ruth was talking about the guy that saved the cop, but thank you again, Ruth. And thank you for everybody showing up tonight. We really appreciate it.
And as always, folks, remember, sometimes in life, you just got to say, truck it.
Truck it. Y'all have a good night, and we very much so hope to see you next week, next Tuesday.
Peace
Have a good
out.
night, everybody.